Hi everyone! Welcome back to another knitting podcast episode. My name is Nora. I am You Have Got to Be Knitting Me on Instagram and on TikTok, and Nora Byron on Ravelry. I'm here with another knitting podcast episode. I think this is episode 6. I'm really excited for this one. I have some projects to show, some new whips that are new, I haven't shown yet, and it was local yarn store day this weekend, so I have a little bit to show from that. So that's kind of what we have in store today. I'm in a new location. I'm dog sitting. I've spent the last 48 hours kind of looking over there and then looking over there and trying to figure out which place would be better to film, but I decided on neither, and I'm sitting at the table just because there's a lot of skylights here. And every time I was trying to film sitting on a couch, there would be like shadows and lights on my face, which is not really the look I'm going for this video. So I hope the lighting is okay here. I'm gonna try not to do this, but I can't make any promises. And I hope this picture of Cape Cod is not too distracting. It is like it has like glass, so I'm noticing some reflections off of it, but I don't want to take it down and not be able to put it back up. So I'm gonna keep that there. Hopefully you guys like it. Yeah, so let's get on to the knitting. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna talk about is my finished object, because that's what I'm wearing. This is my CarDEGEN by DEGEN. I finished it this week and I'm so obsessed with it. I took it off, when I took it off the blocking mats and put it on, I was like, damn, Nora, you did good with this one. The yarn is obviously so beautiful. It is Hedgehog Fibres Merino Aran in the colorway Orchid, which is one of the Hedgehog Fibres colors of the year. I've been a very big Hedgehog Fibres fan kind of since I started, like, not since I started knitting, but when I started knitting with the internet, which I would say like was in high school, because I would just knit when I was a kid and just like make things up and have no patterns and have no, like, I had no inspiration. I would just knit rectangles and sew them together. Then in high school, like, social media became a thing, and then that's when I was introduced to like knitting podcasts and stuff. Anyway, I've been obsessed with Hedgehog Fibres forever. So it was really nice to be able to knit this sweater. It was definitely an investment, but I have been planning this sweater and kind of dreaming about this sweater for a very long time. So yeah, I really am obsessed with this pattern. I'm definitely gonna make it again. It's knit from the bottom up and seamed. The sleeves are seamed, which usually I would not pick in the pattern, but I'm glad that I got to practice and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. All the cast on is tubular cast on, which I love to do, and I think it looks really nice. I did talk about last week that for some reason my provisional cast on was a little odd, but nothing happened bad, so I'm gonna say that was okay. And oh, the one thing that I changed about the pattern, which I did talk about last week, is all of the bind off says Italian bind off, which I don't dislike the Italian bind off, but I just have a sewn 1x1 rib bind off that I really like, that I linked in the last video, that I'll link in this video as well, in case that's something that you want to try, and it's a little bit more simple than the Italian bind off. I'll link that in the description. But what else do I have to say? Oh, I did have some button drama. In my last episode, I was like, because, okay, everyone was freaking out when Joann Fabrics was closing, but I wasn't really freaking out because I was like, you can buy fabric other places. You can buy yarn other places. Like, everything's gonna be okay, guys. The thing is that I don't know if this was all Joann Fabrics. Okay, the dog that I'm taking care of is really cute, and she just stretched in a really cute way. She does not leave my side. Maybe I'll have a Stella cam. I'll put some videos of her in here because she's really cute. Okay, what was I saying? Button drama. Okay, yes, everyone was freaking out about Joann's closing. Joann. The store is called Joann. I think that's a really funny rebrand that they chose just to name a singular woman's name, not with an apostrophe S. I don't know if anyone has noticed that. Anyway, Joann used to have the best selection of buttons. I don't know if it was just my Joann or all Joanns, like, had every button you could possibly want was just on one shelf in Joann Fabrics. And I did not think about that when Joann Fabrics was closing and everyone was freaking out. So I went to Michael's which Michaels does have more fabric now. Not a good button selection. I went to a different Michaels, not a good button selection. And I could go to a local yarn store or a local fabric store, but just usually the selection is limited. And for this sweater, I wanted to have like, I didn't want to have to be like, maybe I'll do that. But like, I wanted exactly what I didn't know that I wanted lavender buttons, but I didn't want to have to like make sacrifices over the buttons I wanted. So there was no selection at one Michaels, no selection at the other Michaels. Could have gone to a local yarn store, but I didn't want to like, I can't think of a yarn store in my location that definitely has a good button selection. I can only think of some that have a very limited button selection. I don't really want to waste my time driving there, kind of far away. And I can think of one fabric store also kind of far away, which if I'm in this pinch, I can go there. But I got these buttons at Walmart and I was really mad because I had to buy a pound of buttons. It was $9. And I did go, like, it was in a plastic bag and I was standing there in the aisle counting the lavender buttons to make sure that there were 4 because I would have been so mad if I came home. It was just a mix of like sizes, ranges, colors of like pinks, purples, blue. Like it definitely was like a baby themed button, pounds of buttons. And I just was really mad that I had to spend $9 on a pound of buttons when I only needed 4, but what else was I gonna do? Drive around Massachusetts looking for buttons? No. So I got what I wanted, I just spent a lot more money. Not a lot more money, that's the thing. It was $9. I just didn't, this is just not the situation I wanted to put myself in, but it's not okay. If anybody has any more button selections, like stores that sell a lot of buttons, I would love to know, especially if there's a wide selection, okay? That's the button drama. Oh, also she did say, like in the notes of the pattern, she did say that she put one more small button and like a crochet loop up here, which I am gonna do. I didn't really understand that when I first sewed the buttons on, and now that I'm wearing it, I like can visualize it. So I am gonna add that. Anything else to say? Maybe I'll stand. I don't know how this is gonna look. This is what it looks like. I don't know if that looked weird. The sleeves, that's the thing about knitting. I'm being so all over the place. Usually I film these like I stop between every section, but I don't film multiple takes. This is like take 97. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about in all of these clips. I'm really sorry. Anyway, where was I going with this? My sweater, I'm confused. I've refreshed my memory on what the heck I was talking about. I was commenting on the length of the sleeves. So because this is knit from bottom up, I was a little bit nervous because every time I knit from the bottom up, I feel like that everything is too long. And by the time I realized that, it is like way past, not past the point of no return, but like past the point of it being kind of a chore to fix. And so when I was blocking this, I was like, the sleeves look really long. But that always is like when you pull something out of the water the first time you're blocking it and you're like, oh my God. I was a little nervous, especially because I would have had to take out the collar. I probably could have left the button band, but I would have needed to unseam the shoulders and then like unknit the whole sleeves, which I was not really looking forward to. So I'm glad that, I guess they are a little bit bunched, but not anything I would change, and kind of like they sit exactly, maybe, yeah, like this is how long the sleeve would be. So that is not something I need to change, but I was a little bit nervous while knitting. But I knit the sleeves exactly the length that she said in the pattern, so probably fine. I knew I was probably going to be fine, and I am. But the one other thing I wanted to say is that I did not alternate skeins, and I almost never do. And I'm trying to think if there has ever been a situation where I regretted that. And I don't think that there is. And I think if there was, I would remember it. But the only time where maybe it looks a little strange is because all the light colors are pooled right here. And so that there's like a little bit of a difference here, but this is seamed anyways, so you would never be able to have these two colors match. And I really like the way the yarn pools, like this right here, this beautiful chunk of magenta. I love when I was knitting that. I was like, oh. So yeah, I didn't alternate skeins, and I almost never do. Unless I can visually be like, there's something going on here. I can't knit. I need to alternate skeins, but I've never had that situation. So That's my recommendation and opinion. Let's get on to whips, and they're all new. Okay, let's move on to works in progress. It's nice to film at a table because I can have my notebook here and have my projects here, and I don't think you can see them. I hope you can't. Anyway, for works in progress, I again have my Jellycat bag. I have another pair of socks. This is the yarn that I got in Brooklyn. I have one sock finished. That was kind of a surprise even to me as I pulled it out of the bag. All right, wait, first thing I want to show, I got these at Knit Club a while ago, but look at these adorable snips. Oh, okay, everything's falling out of my bag. Okay, another thing I have to show, this is what's in my knitting bag, is this. I really need to get a new tape measure. This is a tape measure that is ripped and also exactly 12 inches, and that's why I keep it. It's exactly 12 inches because I was making a t-shirt quilt during COVID with all my college t-shirts, and I had just got one of those pizza roller cutters, which I have had stitches for since, unrelated, but I was having one of those pizza roll fabric cutters, and I was measuring my shirt, and I had this tape measure, and I was so excited that I just cut through the tape measure as well, so that is why this is exactly 12 inches, which is okay for sock knitting. I just keep it in this bag. Anyway, what I wanted to show is these adorable snips that I got at Knit Club. I think they're so cute, and I would love to have them on a keychain, but I did have them on this, and that wasn't a good idea, so I would love to put them on a keychain of sorts, but right now I just have them in my bag, and I think they're so cute. Anyway, the first whip I have to show you are the Kohaku socks by Yucca. I've knit a few of her patterns. I really love cable. I really love detailed cable and lace socks, and she has a lot of cable patterns. I think I've definitely knit the Anne's. Oh, actually, it's a different designer. I have knit other Yucca patterns, but I cannot think of them off the top of my head. This one has a very beautiful, like, toe, not toe detail, but like triangle detail on the foot that I really love. There's a little lint, but yeah, just beautiful cables. The pattern has an option for garter stitch in the cables or seed stitch. I use the garter stitch. I think this is the second time I knit this pattern, and I think I did that for the first time as well. I just think it has a little bit more, it's a little bit more distinct against the cables, and then the back just has little eyelets and cables kind of continuing the pattern. Twisted rib at the top, and I did the same sewn bind off for the top of the sock. It's really stretchy. Yeah, so I use that every time. Yeah, and it just has the slip stitch detail at the toe that creates this little triangle that I think is so beautiful. And the heel is short rows, and this side is a lot neater than the other side. The heel is short rows, and it's knit from the toe up. And that's what I have over here. Just the toe until you start the cable. I think you knit a toe and then you knit until it's like 2 inches, and then you start the cable chart. So that is where I left off. So beautiful. I use the like magic cast. It says use the Turkish cast on, which I don't do because I don't knit with, what's that called? Magic loop. When I knit socks, I either knit with a 9-inch circular or double pointed needles, and I don't know if Turkish cast on works if you don't have magic loop. So I just use the like magic cast, Judy's magic cast on, and that's what's in the pattern for the beekeeper's quilt. And so that's the only like cast on I know, because I learned how to do that however many years ago when the beekeeper's quilt was really popular. I did finish my beekeeper's quilt. Not many people can say that. I have a whole video about scrap yarn blankets. My beekeeper's quilt is finished. Anyway, toe up sock. Simple, easy. The yarn I got at Brooklyn General. I do have my Brooklyn General shirt underneath this. I wasn't planning on wearing my sweater for the podcast, but I am. This is Magpie Fibres Swanky sock in the colorway Say Chic. I got it at Brooklyn General, so it's a very nice souvenir. And then I also got this t-shirt. And I was saving it for, I didn't have a particular pattern picked out, but I was saving it for some type of cable sock. So that is whip number 1. Do I have any? I didn't have anything else to say about that. No. Okay, whip number 2 is a test knit. Oh man, I meant to at least put. I'll be right back. Okay, this is the knitting podcast that was not meant to be. I left because I haven't seamed the shoulders yet, but I thought it'd be a lot easier to show if I at least put stitch markers on them. And then as I was doing that, the dog started barking like crazy. So we just had to take a little bit of a pause. Everyone's calmed down. Anyway, I'm kind of on like the side of TikTok. Like I have dogs in my own house. I don't know why like Stella's bringing this out of me, but like I'm kind of on the side of TikTok that's like a dog just ripped off my face and I'm healing from a dog ripping off my face. And like Stella's the cutest dog ever. I don't think she's gonna rip off my face. She's just a little lab. But sometimes she'll do something. I'm like, what if she like bites my face off? So far that hasn't happened, and she hasn't really shown any behavior that she's gonna bite my face off, but it's just something that I think about sometimes. But do you ever see those people on TikTok and you're like, wow, that's really scary. I hope that doesn't happen to me, but anyway, I hope, anyway. The next project I have to talk about is a test knit for James N. Watts, one of my favorite designers and knitting podcasters. I've done a few of his patterns, and I really just like his social media content that he creates. Isn't this so cute? It's like a little summer tank top. All the knitting is done except for there's an I-cord edging that alternates colors throughout the I-cord, and I need to seam the shoulders together. But yeah, it's just a striped tank top, knit vertically, like you cast on and you knit all the way around, and you cast, like you just pick up or cast on stitches for the sleeves. What's this called? Yes, sleeves, right? Straps. You cast on stitches for the straps and then bind off stitches, knit cross, cast on more stitches, bind off, and then the back is a full back, which you kind of do the same thing for, but it's all knit in one piece, and then you just Kitchener stitch the side together and then seam the shoulders, which I haven't done. But the yarn is Purl Soho Cotton Chirp. It's my first time knitting with cotton, or it's my first time knitting with, not with cotton, my first time knitting with Purl Soho yarn. And they all come in little packs. You'll be able to see in my last episode a lot better. Maybe I should have organized this before, but just kind of sticking with the general vibe of nothing being good for this episode. So, and we're just kind of have yarn and needles all over the place. This is a bag. I used to live in Ireland. This is a bag about sea swimming, and all of the sea swim words are written in Irish. Smala snobbin means swim bag. It's a little Irish lesson for you. This is all the yarn. I don't have very much left, so I was just gonna, I used 8, I bought up 3 packs. That means I had 12 balls of yarn, and I used 8. And this is how much I have left for the I-cord, which is enough, but I just like didn't have that much of the lavender, so like the last couple of stripes, I was making sure I was saving enough to just have at least a part of the I-cord be this color, and I'm kind of running out of this one too, but that's okay. Yeah, so I ordered 3 packs. One is called Meadow Phlox, here comes Stella. One is called Inchworm, and one is called Citrus, Mint Citrus. And I used all of the Meadow Phlox one, that's all these colors, the purple ones. I used all of those, and then the Inchworm and Citrus Mint, I used 2 each, and then left 2 out of the color rotation. But yeah, I have been knitting and weaving in my ends as I go. All the ends are woven, and I just need to trim the last section that I haven't trimmed yet and start the I-cord. So I honestly probably will finish this today. I just wanted to be able to show at least a little bit of it as a work in progress, but it was a super quick knit, and all of the sections are very short, so you are like moving through the sections really fast, so it feels like you can knit it really fast. And my bathing suit is like hot pink, and so I'm really excited to wear this over a bathing suit. I think that will look really cute. And with my cowboy boots, that would be an interesting look, bathing suit, cowboy boots, this tank top. I'm also excited to wear this with jeans and my cowboy boots. And oh, one thing I was gonna say is as I was knitting it from probably like here to here, I don't know if I wasn't regretting my color choices, but I was like, is this giving limited 2 more than I want it to? Just color-wise, not style-wise. I was not allowed to shop at Limited 2. My mom would not even look at that store. But I just thought it was giving like little kid colors. But now that I have the whole piece, I mean, it is a little kid-ish, but I like it a lot more than I did when I first started. And I am excited to wear this, a good summer knit. And I'm excited to see what it looks like on. I haven't even tried it on, but it's really cute. This is the medium. If people are wanting to knit it and want to have a size reference, I'm knitting the medium. And I used 8 of the little Purl Soho cute little balls of yarn. Do I have anything else to say? This is my first time test knitting. I've applied to a few test knits, but I haven't got picked. But I do think that's more of like, I've probably applied to like 2 test knits and didn't get picked. And then I was like, I'm never applying to a test knit again. And I probably haven't applied to one in like 4 years, but I'm glad I got picked and I'm glad I got to knit this. And I'm really excited to wear it. And I love James Watts. That's the end of this section. Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about was a finished object of the past, which is going to be a frog object of the future. But it's slightly more interesting than it would have been if I filmed this episode yesterday, which I tried to do, but again, the skylights were causing some issues. This is the Moonflower Pullover by Sari N. Sari N is my favorite designer. I would say I have knit Billy Cardigan, Ariella Pullover, Lucia Pullover, Sade Pullover, Moonflower Pullover. The blue one that I finished that I can't think of the name of. I've knit at least 8 Sari N patterns. She is a very beautiful designer. It's particularly cable sweaters. I really love her patterns and I really love her style, the way she writes patterns. Huge fan. This is the Moonflower cardigan. This is the Moonflower Pullover. I knit this over a year ago. I think it's so beautiful. I love the color. I love the style. I've only worn it once. And when I finished my field sweater and I was putting things away, every single time I finish a sweater, I'm like, I do not have room for this. I have one drawer that's filled with knitting things, and then I have a wardrobe that the top shelf is filled with sweaters, and that has like 15 or 20 sweaters in it. Every single time I finish a sweater, I'm like, I do not have room for this. What am I gonna do with this? And every time I'm able to fit one more sweater. This time I was going through stuff and I was like, I have not worn this. And I think I'm gonna unravel it. And it's easy to unravel because I've only worn it once, so there's no wear and tear. It's gonna be super easy. So there's not anything particularly I don't like about it. I just never wear it. And it is a bit short, which I'm sure I didn't do a gauge swatch because I've knit so many of her patterns in this yarn that I'm sure I didn't do a gauge swatch, but I remember like counting the photo that she has and counting how many sweater repeats or chart repeats she has in it, because like she just says to knit a length and I wanted mine to look like hers. And I swear I did the same amount of chart repeats, but mine just looks super cropped. And when I wear it, it doesn't look that cropped, but it doesn't look like hers. Anyway, I actually do like cropped sweaters because I like to wear them with dresses, but anyway, I'm frogging my Moonflower Pullover. This is the last you'll ever see of it. But the reason I said this is slightly more interesting than it would have been yesterday is I was just gonna frog it to make room, but then I have been kind of flirting with the Olga sweater in my mind, in my dream knitting. And I do think it is a very beautiful sweater. It's by Petite Knit. I'll put some photos in, especially of if I'm able to find the sweater that I'm thinking of. The Olga sweater is a 2-color striped sweater, just pullover, but I've been seeing a lot of people alternating colors, or the one a very beautiful one I saw on TikTok, every stripe on the body is a different color, and then the sleeves are black and white striped. And I really loved that. And I just was kind of, I didn't have plans to make the Olga sweater, but I just was like dreaming generally of the Olga sweater. And then I thought, I'll alternate. This is Hedgehog Fibres. Nope. Knit picks. Green tea heather, wool of the Andes. I've knit several things in particularly green tea heather. That was in my field sweater that I just finished. But I think I'm going to frog this and have it all be wool of the Andes worsted and alternate between the green tea heather and then just a regular stripe. And so the cardigan, no, this is what I mean. What am I talking about? I don't not usually like this. The pullover will be striped, alternating stripes with the green. You'll see the vision, you'll see the picture that I'm putting up, everyone will understand what I'm saying. But I'm gonna unravel that sweater, stay tuned. I actually do this all the time, and I think it's a good way to get the most of your money. And if you don't like a sweater, then you're not gonna wear it. Why have it take up space and yarn? So that's my plan with the Moonflower pullover. Okay, this is a little bit of yarn haul because it was local yarn store day this weekend, and I went to Knit Club, which is not particularly local for me. I do cross state lines. It's in Providence, Rhode Island, but it is, if I'm going to a yarn store, it is likely Knit Club. That's about an hour away from me, so that's not that bad. And it was local yarn store day, so they were having an event. There was a raffle, so if you wore a knit outfit, or if you wore something that you made, you got entered into a raffle. I did wear something that I made. I wore my Roosty tank, which I didn't take a picture of myself at Knit Club. I wore my Roosty tank, which is like a sweater vest, and my Adidas pants that have a magenta stripe on the side, and they matched perfectly, and my Doc Martens. It was a really cute outfit. I did not take a picture, but I did wear my Roosty tank to the Lucy Dacus concert, and I didn't put a photo in last week's episode, so I'll put a photo of me at the Lucy Dacus concert wearing my Roosty tank, and you can imagine what I looked like at Knit Club. So I did get entered into the raffle, so that was fun, and there was lots of people there. It was pouring rain, which is every time I go to Knit Club, it's pouring rain, which is a little sad, but that's okay. I went with my mom, and I'm just gonna show you what I got. First thing is that they are giving away bags for local yarn store day, so I got this bag, which is super cute. And you can never have enough tote bags, especially as a knitter. And then they also, well, I have the Knit Club sticker on my water bottle. I've had this since their opening day. And then they had a local yarn store day special sticker, which is super cute. And I love the flowers. And I love how this flower is like struggling. We can all be beautiful. And she has a pattern that has, this is the person who owns the store is the designer of this sweater. She also has a sock pattern that has a smiley face on the heel, so I think it's so cute that the sock has a smiley face on the heel. So that's the sticker and the bag. And then the yarn that I got, 2 skeins of sock yarn, and I kind of went in with a plan, which is how I need to go into yarn store because I always get so overwhelmed and don't buy anything. So these are the 2 yarns that I got. This is MadelineTosh. Twist Merino Light. It is, what is the fiber content? 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. I like this one. This one says twist. There is another MadelineTosh sock yarn that is like an extreme twist, which I don't think this one is, but I like this like sock yarn better, like the texture. I don't exactly know how to describe it. There are 2 MadelineTosh sock lines. I like this one better. It says that this one is a twist. This colorway, anyway, what the heck am I talking about? This colorway is called Mars in Retrograde, which I have looked at online several times, so I'm glad that I got to see it in person and I purchased it. I'm going to use this to make ribbed socks with a square heel. I've had the pattern in my library, my Ravelry library for a while, and when I was kind of envisioning it, I wanted to make it with slightly variegated yarn. I hope this is not too crazy and it makes the ribbing look crazy, but I will probably have this cast on when I finish those socks, so maybe by the next episode I'll be able to show you, but I'm just gonna make a simple pair of ribbed socks with this yarn. And also, speaking of MadelineTosh and speaking of Knit Club, the way the store is set up is on one side is fingering weight and lace weight yarn, and on the other side, this is good visual, on the other side is like worsted DK sport. I don't know if there's sport yarn there, but it's split by weight. On the other side, they had MadelineTosh DK and the colorway Fire Opal, and I'm not joking, I went to bed that night thinking about just like MadelineTosh Fire Opal, MadelineTosh Fire Opal. It was so beautiful, but I don't need DK yarn, so I do think I'm gonna order it. Maybe after I finish these socks, I do think I'm gonna order it online and make another pair of ribbed socks if the ribbing looks good with the variegated yarn, because that yarn was so beautiful. And I do think I have knit it before on their Tosh Merino light base, which is their single, which does look pretty different when it's dyed on a single ply yarn versus dyed on a twist yarn. The color is a little bit darker, so I do think I'm going to purchase that. I'm really excited, and I do often dream of yarn as I'm going to sleep. Yes. And the next, I can't leave Knit Club without Ritual Dyes sock yarn. This one is called New Growth, and their Maiden sock base. So this one is a little bit more twisted, but not the way that the Merino, the MadelineTosh one is. It is 90% Merino, 10% nylon. Which maybe the twist is better because that makes it a little bit of a hardier sock with less of a nylon content. But it is a beautiful light green, yellowy, almost like a butter yellow is such a trend right now. Almost a butter yellow, but more green. And then it has a little bit of brown spots in it and a little bit of this gold speckle in it. And I'm gonna use it to make the breakfast socks by Knittail, which was just released this week. It's another beautiful designer who does really beautiful cable socks, and that pattern was released this last week, and I knew I was going to go to Knit Club, so I was on a mission to buy a beautiful yarn to make the socks, and it's a cable pattern. I have one dark blue yarn that I almost was going to use, but I think the cables are going to look a lot better on the light yarn. So this is the other yarn that I got. So beautiful. And that was my haul from Knit Club for local yarn store day. It's great to support your local yarn stores. And I love Knit Club and I love buying yarn, so that was exciting. Okay, we're gonna briefly shift from knitting podcast to fashion podcast, but we're gonna pivot right back to knitting, don't worry. I was on TikTok and I saw a TikTok that was like cool shoes for cool girls for the summer. And I'm nothing if not a cool girl, but I hate the way I look in sneakers. And this has been something that I have just always felt self-conscious about. So, and I always hate every sneaker that I buy. And the first thing on the cool girl list for cool sneakers was the Solomon shoes, which are so cute and kind of big in the knitting community. You always see those girlies with their big sweaters, their cool skirts, their big Solomon shoes. They look great. I would not like the way that I looked in that because I don't like the way I look in sneakers, and the Solomons are super cute, but they're big chunky sneakers. So I decided to scroll down and see what was number 2 on the list. And I got these Keen shoes. This is kind of a fun unboxing, shoe unboxing. I got these Keens. People do not like crinkling on YouTube videos. And I think these look pretty cool. And when I put them on, I felt pretty cool. And yeah, they're the Keen Jasper shoes. The color is, I probably said it on the box, Silver Mink. I thought these were pretty cool, and the list told me that I would look cool in them, so I bought them. Especially because they are like kind of hiking shoe, climbing shoe, sneaker hybrids, and I like the way I look in climbing shoes and hiking shoes a lot more than I look in sneakers. So I was excited to buy these, but they're too big and I'm returning them, and I got I ordered them another size. Guys, I'm really breaking down right in front of you. I ordered them in another size, but they were out of stock on Keen, so I ordered them from Backcountry, and I got them for $10 cheaper than these ones. So thank God I ordered them too big. So I'm gonna return these right after filming this video. But how we're gonna pivot right back into knitting is that I knit a lot of socks, but I only like to wear them mostly with my Birkenstocks. And first of all, my Birkenstocks are so dirty. So if anyone knows, like, they're dirty to the point where I should just buy new Birkenstocks, but I want to clean them, but I just don't know how. Anyway, the reason we're pivoting back into knitting with these shoes is I think they're gonna look really good with knit socks, especially cable socks and colorwork socks. So stay tuned on that. And also, if you were looking for a pair of shoes to wear with your cool knit socks, I maybe recommend these shoes, even though I have not been able to execute this look because these ones are too big for me. But I just want to share my shoes. I'm really excited about them. Okay, finally, we have reached the end of the knitting podcast where I briefly talk about the media I'm consuming. I really don't have that much to talk about, mainly because I'm dog sitting right now, and the house that I'm dog sitting at doesn't have Max, and I'm watching Hacks right now. Hacks is so good. I don't know why it took me so long to watch. I almost said so long to knit. I don't know why it took me so long to watch. It's so funny and so good. I'm on season 1. I have like a few more episodes of season 1, but I just haven't been watching it here that much because I want to watch it on the TV. And I mean, I could log in on their TV, but that's just such a mess. So I'm just saving until I'm not here anymore. But I've been watching Hacks, love, Righteous Gemstones, still love. I guess I don't like this season as much as the other ones, but I'm trying to figure out if it's because I'm watching it like week to week, and the other seasons I was binging, and I don't know if that changed. I kind of hate how binging has become such a vocab word. It's kind of like chuggy a little bit, but I was watching them all. Like, I wasn't waiting week to week when I was watching the first 3 seasons, so I don't know if that's why I'm not enjoying it as much, but I'm still watching Righteous Gemstones. I think we have 2 or 3 more episodes of the season. I think this is the last one, which is sad because I do really love the show. Anyway, yeah, those are the shows I'm watching. Hacks. Oh, and I just wanted to say about Hacks too is that Hannah, I love. Like, she was a guest on the Las Culturistas podcast, which is one of my favorite podcasts. And she was also a guest on the Muna podcast, which is another one of my favorite podcasts. And I really liked her as a person on both episodes. And so it's so funny. On the Muna podcast, they're talking for like 10 minutes. And then she's like, so when do we start recording? And they're like, oh, we've been recording this. This is all going into the show. I think it's so funny. I love Muna, and I highly recommend the Muna podcast if you want to watch or listen. It's on YouTube. Also listen to their music, my favorite band. Yeah, I just really liked her as a person on both of those shows, and so I was really excited to watch a show with her in it, and I really like her as an actress as well. I think she's so funny and such a good actress, so love Hacks. Okay, and last I'll just talk about books really quickly. I think on the last episode I was still reading All Fours by Miranda July, which I ended up not finishing, which I'm a little sad about because I did, like, it's really popular. I need to read books that are popular, but I kind of wanted to just be part of like the cultural discourse. And I did just see an interview of her talking about the book, and I was like really interested in the interview, but I just like didn't enjoy the book, so I didn't finish it. And I do think I'm in a little bit of a reading slump right now, so I don't want to be stuck on a book that I'm not like looking to pick up, so I ended up not finishing that. Right now I'm reading Sour Cherry by Natalia Theodoridou. I just picked this up and I'm only on page 50, so I don't have that much to say, but I'm enjoying it so far. I really like twisted fiction, especially twisted fiction where a scorned woman comes out on top, which I have a feeling that this is how the genre of book that this is in. But it kind of reminds me of Lipovna or Livona by Otessa Mosfeg. I really enjoyed that book. I know it was very controversial, but I really enjoyed that book, and it was just kind of like a twisted, medieval, a little bit gross kind of book, and I'm getting similar vibes from this. So I'm only on page 50, but I don't have that much to say, but I am enjoying it. So this is my book of the week. And that's all I have to say. I hope this knitting podcast came out a little bit better than I feel like it did, because I feel like I was not speaking in any type of way that makes sense at all. And sometimes I don't feel like that, and then I'm editing it and I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? So I'm a little worried that I am a little worried, but hopefully everything came out well. Hopefully it's still lighting. The lighting is still good. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Even though I was a little frazzled, I enjoyed making it. And I'm really excited to share all my projects always. So yeah, happy knitting, everyone. I'll see you soon. Bye.